Okay, we are live. So no one's on my live yet, but I'll still do my little intro. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the I Am IT YouTube channel. My name is Shabazz Danda. As ever, I am the IT Geek. So this is my second YouTube live that I'm doing. This is a bit of a special one because I'm doing a bit of a giveaway. So I'll get into a topic of my session shortly, but you've got to listen out for some keywords. And if you watch my video that I did, I'll just tell you, so this doesn't count, but essentially, there's no one on anyway in my live at the moment, so it doesn't matter if I say this. But at some point during the video, or during this live, I'm going to say Nerdy or Rocks, and you just add a comment to when you hear it with the time, or just Nerdy or Rocks, or just add a comment when you hear it into my live. So you have to be on my live, obviously, which no one is at the moment, so not a good start. You also have to be a subscriber. So this is the t-shirt that we're going to be giving away. You can see I Am IT Geek, and you can see Nerdio on the shoulder, on the arm there. So I'm giving away 3 today. So let's see if people join the actual live. So today's session is on defense in depth. So I'm going to do a bit of a presentation, a bit of some slides on it, and we're going a bit of a deep dive demo into my into the Azure tenant, Defender for Cloud specifically. I'll show different features, how you can configure them and stuff like that. So let's get started with this live. So talking about defense in depth, Microsoft Defense in depth today. So on this live session today, the agenda is going to be an introduction to defense in depth. We'll be talking about why does it matter, why is it important, look at some of those defense in depth layers and explain those. I'll talk a little bit about defense in depth versus zero trust. And then we'll talk about some real world scenarios before we jump into the deep dive demo. So, a bit of an introduction, I suppose. First of all, the definition of defense in depth, it's a cybersecurity strategy, right? And it has layers of multiple security controls throughout an IT system, essentially, to protect data and resources at the various different levels. And that's the key important bit. It's all about protecting your data, because that's like the bottom layer, and we'll go through the layers shortly. From a so what's its purpose? Its purpose is to actually reduce the likelihood of a successful attack. You do that by ensuring if one control fails, others are in place to mitigate that impact. So from a cloud context, in sort of traditional IT, layers include firewalls, antivirus, and sort of physical security. Whereas in cloud, your layers are a bit different. They can span identity, network, data, applications, and monitoring. And when we talk about CAF alignment, because obviously this is all to do with Cloud Adoption Framework, Defense in Depth is going to support the sort of security and governance pillars of that Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework. Okay. So why does defense in depth matter? Okay, why is it important? So when we talk about shared responsibility model, first of all, Microsoft secures that sort of physical infrastructure, but we as consumers need to secure the data, the identities, and that sort of configuration. We then got cloud threat landscape as well. So this is increased attack vectors, with APIs. Misconfigured storage, identity theft, and sophisticated threats as well, like ransomware, insider threats, and supply chain attacks as well. So that threat landscape is vast as well. And then from a compliance perspective, there are drivers there as well, right? So you've got ISO 27001, you've got NIST, you've got CIS as well, and let's not forget GDPR as well. That's still around. And these all emphasize layered security. Okay. But we've got to remember this all comes with a business impact. So a breach can lead to data loss, reputational damage as well, and regulatory fines. And defense in depth helps ensure resilience and sort of business continuity as well. Okay. So this is essentially the defense in depth. These are sort of the layers. That's what I'll talk a little bit about them as well. So Microsoft's responsibility under the shared is that physical layer, right? Protect the data centers and infrastructure hosting those cloud services. Okay, so that's Microsoft's responsibility. So a couple of points I want to kind of talk about is Microsoft operates obviously over 200 data centers globally. with sort of strict physical sort of controls as well. And the security measures include sort of biometric access, 24/7 surveillance, security personnel on site as well, and then obviously multi-layered access zones as well. So, like for example, secure perimeter, server rooms and things like that. Customers don't manage this layer. So us as consumers, we are customers, whatever you want to call yourselves. We don't manage that layer, but we need to understand it. Its importance, especially for compliance as well. I mentioned ISO 27001, SOC and things like that. And once again, my son has joined under my account, so please, I didn't kill him last time he did this, but I might this time. Well, that's my son commenting on my YouTube live, which is hilarious, under my own account. I'll there you go. I'll show him. There you go. Me. That's not me. It's my son. I promise. Okay, let's continue. Let's talk about the identity and access layer within Defense in Depth first of all. So this is what it's not what I call. This is actually the new perimeter when it comes to cloud. So this is the most critical layer, and it's I said identity is a new perimeter, and it controls who can access what, when, and how. Right. A couple of points I want to talk on. Microsoft Entra ID is what we use for centralized identity management within Microsoft Cloud, right? And some of its key controls include MFA, multi-factor authentication. This prevents credential theft, or helps prevent it, I suppose. You then got conditional access. So this enforces access policies based on risk, location, and device. Okay. We then got PIM, privileged identity management. Just-in-time access for administrators. Okay. And then finally, RBAC, role-based access control. You can assign least privilege roles here, okay? And I've done some other stuff. I'll put links in the description, but I have done some other content on some of these areas. And this integrates with single sign-on, SSO, identity protection, and access reviews as well, okay, for that further protection. Identity breaches are often the entry point for attackers, right? And this layer must be airtight, because that's your first layer, second layer of defense after that physical security. But physical security is so tight that the identity needs to be just as tight. We then have what's called perimeter security. I know I said identity is a new perimeter, but there's also something called perimeter security within the layers, and this protects the boundary between the sort of trusted and untrusted networks. Okay, so the first line of defense is against external threats. You can use things like Azure DDoS protection to mitigate sort of volumetric attacks. You can deploy Azure firewalls or also network virtual appliances as well. And these are going to start that sort of centralized traffic filtering and sort of logging. You can use what's called Web Application Firewall, or WAF, with Azure Application Gateway to block sort of OWASPs of top 10 threats. And then again, implement that just-in-time sort of VM access. This is going to reduce exposure fully as well. And one thing I always try to recommend to my customers is avoid using public IP addresses unless absolutely necessary. Use private endpoints. Then private endpoint takes us nicely onto network security, right? So that's the first, second, third, fourth layer there. And this controls traffic flow so this is within your cloud environment, right? And it ensures segmentation and isolation of your workloads. A couple of points I just wanted to talk on when it comes to network security. You can use NSGs, network security groups, to control traffic and subnet at the subnet and NIC level. So these are sort of subnet and NIC level firewalls, essentially, virtual firewalls. You can implement virtual networks as well, virtual network peering with sort of careful route control. And then use things like service endpoints and private links as well to restrict access to your PaaS services, which is obviously very important. And then use subnets and firewall rules to segment your networks. Okay, so you do the same on premises, you should do the same in cloud as well. And obviously we need to monitor the traffic, right? With Azure Network Watcher, which can help monitor your traffic, and traffic analytics as well. So we're now getting on to sort of the more, what probably is better known to people within Azure, which is the compute security, so the compute layer. So we're talking about securing virtual machines, containers, and sort of serverless workloads here. Also protecting runtime environments. So we're going to be looking at this today in the deep dive demo, but using Microsoft Defender for servers or Defender for cloud specifically to detect threats and misconfigurations, and we'll be looking at that in the demo at the end or towards the end. Again, just-in-time access to virtual machines is very important, and this can reduce that attack surface when it comes to protecting that compute layer. And also hardening VMs with baseline configuration and patch management. We're going to be looking at some of the baseline configurations when it comes to regulatory compliance with Defender for Cloud shortly. Specifically for containers, when we talk about AKS or Azure Kubernetes services, you can use things like role-based access control, network policies, and image scanning. But then for serverless, we can pivot and use sort of Azure functions with sort of managed identities, API keys, but also network restrictions as well. And then we're coming down to like the bottom two layers now. So the first one's application security. So this is protecting applications from vulnerabilities and exploits, ensuring sort of secure deployment, development and deployments. Using things like App Gateway and Web Application Firewalls to protect web apps. You can also implement sort of DevSecOps practices as well, so integrating security into your CI/CD pipelines, using things like GitHub Advanced Security or Azure DevOps Security scanning, and again securing things like APIs with Azure API management or auth as well, and sort of rate limiting. Something that's very important, a little bit of integration here. So using sort of managed identities to avoid storing secrets in code as well. And again, making sure you're monitoring the behavior of your applications. Things like application insights is really good for that. And we get to the bottom layer, right? The data security. So protecting data at rest, in transit and in use, okay? Ensuring confidentiality, integrity and availability, is vital as well. A couple of things I want to talk about with this is, using encryption, at least, when it comes to at rest, storage service encryption, in transit, TLS encryption. With customer managed keys, you've got, the Azure keys the Key Vault is ideal. And again, something that I think a lot of customers kind of sleep on is classifying and label data as well using Purview. And with this new world of AI, especially people using Copilot, this is vitally important. Again, I've come back to monitoring, right? Monitoring access and anomalies with Defender for Cloud and Sentinel specifically. And then implementing things like DLP policies, data loss protection policies, which is, again, more Purview. Okay, so really important that you understand the defense in depth and the different layers and tools within Azure that you can use to protect those. I personally really like this diagram. I use it a lot in my presentations for customers and things like that. Okay, so let's talk about defense in depth versus actual zero trust. Okay, so as I mentioned, defense in depth is a traditional security model that uses multiple layers of defense to protect systems and data. The goal is to slow down, detect and contain attackers. That's why there's several different layers. At each layer there's a different protection mechanism. So if one layer does fail, which it could happen, others still provide protection, right? And we've just gone through that physical layer, identity layer, network, compute, application, data. These are all the layers. When it comes to talk about strengths, it's a comprehensive coverage across that stack. Reduces those single points of failure and it aligns with sort of your compliance frameworks like NIST, ISO, and 27001. Okay. Welcome to the few people who have joined the live. Drop me a comment and listen out for those keywords for the t-shirt giveaway as well. So let's talk about limitations. So often it assumes a trusted internal network, which is different obviously from zero trust. It may not account for sort of identity-based attacks or cloud-native threats either. And it can be sort of static and slow to adapt to modern attack vectors. So when it comes to zero trust, from a definition perspective, it's a modern security model and it assumes the breach and enforces explicit verification sort of for every access request. Some of the core principles, and this is a Microsoft Zero Trust framework, verify explicitly, okay, authenticate and authorized based on all available data points, user identity, location, device health, etc. Use least privilege access, so limit user access with sort of just in time and just enough access or JIR, and risk-based adaptive policies as well. And again, assume breach. So segment access, use analytics to detect threats and minimize sort of that blast radius. Some key technologies that we can use: conditional access policies, MFA, multi-factor authentication, privileged identity management or PIM, Defender for cloud or Defender for identity, Microsoft Sentinel, things like that. Some of its strength: it's designed for a cloud-first, mobile-first environment. Protects against insider threats, identity compromise, and lateral movement as well. Lateral movement's the key, in my opinion, with that. And it enables real-time policy enforcement. But it comes with limitations like anything. So it requires a mature identity governance and sort of mature telemetry. And it can be complex to implement without sort of automation and visibility. And one thing, again, I've said it quite a few times in my whole CAF series, especially around security, got to get that balance right between security, zero trust specifically, and productivity. It's very difficult to get that. So how do they and these two, defense in depth and zero trust do work together. They're complementary, they're not competing against each other. So the defense in depth provides that structural layer of protection, whereas zero trust is going to provide the policy engine and that real-time enforcement. So there's no reason why these can't work in together, right? So an example here is, defense in depth and Azure firewall is going to block unauthorized traffic, but zero trust, that conditional access, is going to block logins from a risky device, even if the firewall does allow it. So they work together, right? And again, a modern strategy should use defense in depth to build a foundation, and you should use zero trust to enforce adaptive access and identity-centric controls. If we're talking about real world, some real world analogy, like a castle with moats, right? Walls, guards, and locked doors. Each layer is going to slow down the attacker. For defense, that's defense in depth. But with zero trust, if we talk about a real world analogy, it's like a modern airport. Okay, every person is verified. How many times do you have to show your passport on the airport these days? Jesus, it's verified at every checkpoint, regardless of where they come from. So next time at an airport, I'm going to remember that, and I won't be so fussy about having to show my ID. So thank you for those people who are joining. Remember, I've not done the keyword yet. So drop me a comment if you've joined. Let me know how you guys are using defense in depth or zero trust, and listen out for those keywords to win the t-shirt that not this specific t-shirt, but I've got 3 others to give away, right? So let's talk a little bit about Microsoft tool mapping. Thank you. I'm what I'm. I don't know who that is, but thank you for joining. So let's talk about Microsoft tool mapping. So again, from a layer control area, we're talking about identity. We've got Entra ID, RBAC, and MFA. Zero trust tools, we've got conditional access, PIM, identity protection. From a network perspective, we've got from a defense in depth tools, I think I've mentioned NSGs, Azure firewalls, DDoS protection, things like that. And then from a zero trust perspective, we've got private link, just in time access as well. We're talking about the endpoint layer. Got Defender for endpoint from a defense in depth, but from zero trust tools, we've got Intune compliance policies as well. Talk about application, defense in depth, we can use WAF, app gateway, API management. But when it comes to zero trust tools, app proxy, or token lifetime policies, things like that. And finally, if we want to talk about monitoring and response, from a defense in depth, we've got Defender for cloud, which is going to be the demo today. We've got Sentinel. Whereas zero trust tools, we've got Uber and risk sort of based conditional access as well. Okay, so we are coming towards the end of the sort of slide deck. This is the last slide, I promise, and we'll get into a juicy demo. So some real world scenarios I want to talk about, and this first one is like basically securing a multi-tier application. How do we secure this, right? So a typical 3-tier architecture here. We've got web tier, app tier, and database tier. It's hosted in Azure using virtual machines, using app services in Azure SQL, so a mixture of IaaS and PaaS, right? And it needs layer security across the sort of identity, network, and compute and data layers, right? So from an identity and access perspective, we can use managed identities for the sort of the app service to access Azure SQL securely. We can enforce MFA and conditional access for developers and admins. We can use RBAC to restrict access to resource groups and Key Vault. When we talk about perimeter in this real world scenario, we can deploy an Azure App Gateway with WAF to protect the web tier. We can use Azure Firewall to inspect outbound traffic with the app tier as well, from the app tier. We'll talk about protecting the network now in this sort of real world scenario. We can segment tiers into separate VNets and subnets, so use NSGs to restrict traffic between the tiers. Use private link for Azure SQL to avoid public exposure as well. We need to protect that compute layer as well, so harden the VMs with Microsoft Defender for servers. Also use just-in-time VM access for patching and maintenance. So again, we've got a combination of defense in depth and zero trust here working together very nicely. We then wanted to protect the application layer, okay? So we can scan code with GitHub Advanced Security for Azure DevOps in this scenario. We can also protect APIs with Azure API Management and OAuth. From a data perspective, we can encrypt Azure SQL with TDE, plus use Key Vault, customer managed keys with Key Vault. We can classify data with Purview and apply API labels as well. And then we can monitor, monitoring and response as well. We can use Defender for Cloud for sort of secure score and recommendations, and also ingest logs into Microsoft Sentinel and threat detection. So another thing I wanted to mention was Nerdio Rocks. So that's just something I wanted to mention randomly in case anybody's watching and wants to win a t-shirt. Okay, time for the Defender for Cloud deep dive. Remember, you do need to comment once you hear the magic words, which I've literally just said. So let's jump into my demo now. So in case for those people that are watching, as I mentioned, Nerdio Rocks, don't forget, you've got to be a subscriber. And you need to be on the live and comment on the live when you hear me say Nerdio Rocks. So for the people that are watching, I've just said it. See if we can win a free t-shirt. Okay, so we're in Defender for Cloud. I'll try and say it later on as well. There's only a few people joined at the moment. So you can access this through the Azure portal, right? And this is the overview. So on the overview straight away, we can just see, some typical dashboard tells you sort of high-level information around the security posture, regulatory compliance, also workload protection. We're going to look at these in a bit more detail now as well. So we'll talk about setup. Again, you can integrate it, Defender for Cloud, it's not just Azure. It does support multi-cloud and on-premises. So the on-premises integration comes with Azure Arc. So you need to integrate it with Azure Arc and onboard your virtual machines, be it Linux or Windows, into Azure Cloud. Azure Arc, sorry. And straight away we can see you can onboard AWS. You can onboard GCP as well. So it does support multi-cloud, but also additional environments as well. So Azure DevOps, GitHub, we can see there. So we just click on Explore. Azure DevOps, GitHub, GitLab as well, Docker Hub and JFrog as well, which is quite, these two are new, more container registries. So I'll say it again in case you missed it, but Nerdio Rocks. So remember, once you hear that, you need to comment in the live for the people that joined if you want to win the t-shirt. So I'll keep on saying it until someone comments, because I've got 3 t-shirts to give away. So yeah, you can integrate, as I mentioned, multi-cloud and on-premises through Azure Arc, right? So first of all, again, I'll say it again for people joining, Nerdio Rocks. If you want to win a t-shirt, you have to comment in the live and be a subscriber. Nerdio Rocks, I've said it. Comment in the live, you can win a t-shirt. I'll keep on repeating myself because nobody's commenting. I know there's only 3 people joined, but if you comment, you will win the t-shirt. So straight away, these recommendations, they're just again recommendations within Nerdio, within Azure, which you can do. So here we've got the risk levels as well, and again, these are related to. They're going in order of risk level as well. Okay, so we've got high risk to all the way down to medium, and again, this is what Microsoft Defender for Cloud is recommending you implement to essentially is security gaps within your environment, right? So you can see here it says machines should have vulnerability findings resolved. Again, every time you click in one of these, it'll take you to the recommendation, explain it, give you details like the scope. if you've integrated with your ticketing system, a ticket ID, but also it tells you here how to remediate that, recommendations. If you want to exempt it, or like a workflow automation to like for example, set up a logic app, which will trigger the security recommendation. So again, it tells you how to fully can assign that, set a due date, and tells you how to remediate it. So that's the same for all recommendations, right? I think it's important you go through those recommendations. For anyone joining, I'll say it again, Nerdio Rocks, that is the key word to win a t-shirt. If you hear me say it, I've just said it. So that counts. You can just comment. Tell you what, I'll post a comment. Oh, if it lets me. I'm going to post it in the chat. Hope if it lets me, my keyboard just seems to want to stop working, which is not a good sign. Ah, perfect. My keyboard has decided to stop working. Oh, no, it's not. It's working now. There we go. Nerdio rocks. Repeat this if you want to win a t-shirt. Can't be any clearer for anyone joining. I've said Nerdio Rocks. If you say Nerdio Rocks in the chat and you're a subscriber, you will win a t-shirt. I've got 3 to give away today. Could not be any clearer. Okay, let's move on. So again, some of these need a bit more planning, like using private endpoint connections on your PaaS services. These sort of things. Okay, just again, if you want to win a t-shirt, just say Nerdio Rocks and you'll win a t-shirt. That's all. Yay, there you go. First person's won a t-shirt. Well done. Well done. Just drop your email. If you could drop your email that you're happy to share. I'll tell you what, just email me. IamITgeek.com. I'm what I'm. If you just email that email address, there we go. That's all you have to do when you're joining. Type that and you'll win a t-shirt. I've got 2 more to give away. Just email that email address and I will get in touch with you about sending you, not this specific one that I've got on, but I've got others to send to you as well. So well done. The first winner of the t-shirt, well done. Okay, so recommendations. Look at these, plan these out. These are very critical in some cases, right? It's about, decreasing that attack surface. That's fine. That's fine. Email me. I will still send you a t-shirt. I've sent internationally before. So you were here, you joined, you won. I will send the t-shirt to you. If you can email me your address, I will send that to you, mate. At my cost, don't worry. It's a bit of fun. Okay, so moving on. Attack path analysis. This is again very powerful, and again, we've talked about lateral movement, right? About within sort of when you get attacks and things like that. So this again gives us information around sort of attack path analysis. And again, if we just look at this, for example, this is low risk levels. So I've only got low risk levels, which is good, thank God. But if we look at this one, this is quite a common one that I have in mind. And it says Azure VM with high severity vulnerability is going to allow lateral movement to Azure storage accounts. So again, it shows me that how it's going to get it. So it's getting VMI, that's my personal host pool. And then from that, it can authenticate. It can authenticate as the user account, because I have my user account that I use for that personal host pool has access to the storage account, and it tells you which storage account it has access to. So straight away, it's explaining the attack vector it's going to use, right? So then here it tells you the attack story, but it's also going to tell me how to resolve that. Okay, which again, very, very powerful. And then it tells you you've got one active recommendation around that. So what's the remediation? The machine should have vulnerability findings resolved. Once they're resolved, that will be fixed, right? So I'm going to put another quick comment in the chat for anyone joining. For anyone new joining, I have 2 more t-shirts to give away. Just type Nerdio Rocks, if I can spell rocks right, to win. So I've said Nerdio Rocks about 6-7 minutes ago. So if you type in, got 2 more t-shirts to give away today. Someone, I'm what I'm has already won one. Okay, cool. So that's attack path analysis. Go down to security alerts now. So this is more the sort of monitoring and alerting within Defender for Cloud. Again, I've not set up any alerting, but this essentially is going to tell us this, when we have alerting set up, it's going to give us all of our list of alerts here, what resources affected, the resource group, the activity start time, things like that. From an inventory perspective, this is just an inventory of the entire, what I've got in my subscriptions that I've added to Defender for Cloud. Okay, so again, it gives us all the resource names, what resource type they are. Tells us here as well, at 99 I've got 83. Thank God this is my demo tenant, that's all I'll say, because the security is dreadful. It tells us about recommendations per resource here, okay? So for those joining, I've got 2 more t-shirts to give away. If you type in Nerdio Rocks into the chat, the first 2 to do it will get a t-shirt. The t-shirt that I'm wearing, well, not the specific one that I'm wearing, but another 2 that I've got that don't stink of me, right? So all you have to do is go to the chat of my live and type in Nerdio Rocks. I'm has already done it and won one of the 3 t-shirts I was giving away today, so I'm giving away 2 more, so the people joining. Okay, so then we've got Cloud Security Explorer. So this is basically allowing you to do a search within Defender for Cloud. So again, you've got different query templates here you can use that are more sort of built in, or you can go here, look at your computer virtual machines, done, and then just do a search. Again, this is more for kind of querying specific resources, and I must have at some point added an AWS EC2 instance because it's got one there. Okay, for people joining, if you check out the chat, you can win. I've got 2 more t-shirts to give away if you type in Nerdio Rocks. So make sure you type that in the chat to win. I've got 2 more t-shirts. The one that I'm wearing, Nerdio one. The one I've given away already. I actually want to go a bit further down. I'm going to skip these things here because I just want to go into the cloud, a bit more cloud security. Drop a comment as you join, say hello. So secure score is, again, this is similar to secure score in other areas like Entra and Purview and things like that. So again, this gives us a secure score on our, remember Defender for Cloud is protecting my IaaS and PaaS services, so it gives us a security score on that. Again, it makes recommendations, tells us the risk level of some of the findings. Again, we can see here from a risk-based perspective. Thanks. I'm what I'm. I will reply to you and we'll get you a t-shirt sent. For those people joining, you can also win. I've got 2 more t-shirts to give away today. You just need to type in Nerdio Rocks into the comment. First 2 to do it will win a t-shirt. Okay, so again, these are similar to recommendations we saw on the kind of home page or the recommendations page, but these are all going to help you get it tells us the sort of risk factor as well. So again, if we complete this, we'll get +2 on our risk score and so on. So again, very similar to Microsoft 365 when it comes to the sort of secure score. Again, you can go into each recommendation and just it tells you information about it. It tells you what you can actually do to remediate this and fix it, right? So if we go back to here, we can go regulatory compliance. This is a very important one. I do a lot of my demos for customers with this as well. Again, for those joining, if you want to win a t-shirt, I will send the t-shirt to you. I'll get it sent to you. You just need to type in Nerdio Rocks into even if you don't think it rocks, to win a free t-shirt, right? This 50k subscriber t-shirt with Nerdio on the arm. You just need to type that in and you will win a free t-shirt. So I've already given one away. I've got 2 more to give away. So yeah, please join in. Okay, so regulatory compliance. This is where we've got sort of 4 different sort of regulatory compliance we can recommendations we can follow here. Okay, so we've got Microsoft Cloud Security Benchmark. We've got Azure CSPM, we've got SIS Azure Foundations, we've got NIST SP800 171R2. Okay, so these are broken down into, and I've kind of referred to defense in depth a little bit here because if we look, they're very much similar to that. So we've got network security or NS compliance controls, we've got identity management, privileged access. You can see this is a mixture of green and red ticks. So the green ones are ones where I'm already meeting them somehow. And if you break it, and this again, it goes into specific controls. So this has got 1 to 10. So as you can see, the green ones are ones that I've already completed, like establishing network segmentation and ensuring DNS security is in place. For people joining, please drop me a comment, say hello. And again, you can win a t-shirt, free t-shirt, if you just type in the words Nerdio Rocks into the chat, into my live chat, you can win a t-shirt. Type in Nerdio Rocks into a live chat. I've got 2 more t-shirts to give away tonight. If not, we'll just go over to the next live. So if we go to one where I've not actually met the compliance status is kind of red, here we can see, so it tells me straight away where my resource types are and the sort of automated assessment where I'm failing. So here, Azure Key Vaults need to use private link. It tells me I've got 3 that have failed. I've got storage accounts that need to use private links. So these are all private. So this is network security. So obviously private links going to be network security, right? Firewall should be enabled on the Key Vault, private endpoint connections on the Azure SQL database. And again, when we go into each one of these, so these are controls that need to be planned in, using private link on Azure Key Vault. This is something you need to plan in. Just don't do this in a production environment without proper planning. But straight away, again, description, remediation, and it tells you which resources are affected. At the moment, it's a low risk level, but again, if we're trying to meet the Azure, the Microsoft Cloud Security benchmark, we need to complete this. And what you'll find is a lot of these, if we go through, a lot of these benchmarks are actually the same when we go through. So if I go to, I think it's, sorry, let me go if I expand all these. I think it's SIS potentially, if we load these. For those people joining, I'm doing a giveaway of t-shirts, if you're not aware. T-shirt that I'm wearing, I've got 2 more to give away. One person's already won it. If you type in Nerdio Rocks into the chat, you can win a t-shirt. First 2 to do it, win a t-shirt. So straight away we can see we've got identity, Defender for Cloud, storage. From a networking perspective, we've got controls as well. So all these different aspects have different controls. In some cases, they are the same. So if you complete it for the Microsoft Security benchmark, it might go green for a different security benchmark as well. So always important to and again, from a regulatory perspective, as an organization, you might need to do these. So again, if we go down to, they're protecting different layers again, right? So here we've got encrypting sensitive data. If we open DP3, again, it tells me TLS should be updated to the latest version. So it's telling me where my gaps are. It's telling me what I need to do to meet this regulatory compliance, okay? Enabling data at rest. And as we go down, we can see we've got different things like asset management, logging and threat detection as well. For those joining the chat, for those joining my live, my giveaway is live right now. I've already given 1 t-shirt away. If you would like to win a t-shirt of what I'm wearing, not this specific one, but I've got others to give away. I've got 2 more to give away in this YouTube live session. Just type the words in Nerdio Rocks into the chat and you can win a t-shirt. Okay, so for some reason there's 4 people, nobody's typing in, 1 person's already won it. I'm sending the t-shirts for those people who are worried about paying for postage and packaging. I'm going to send it. So if you want to win a t-shirt, type in Nerdio Rocks into the chat. I suppose if you don't, just say hi in the chat, say hello, and let me know where you're from. Okay, logging and threat detection. Again, from a I'm what I'm. You've already won. You've won your t-shirt. Yep. See, I'm what I'm's doing it. He's already won a t-shirt. So here we can see red there, LT3 is on red, enabling logging for security investigation, and we can see straight away I've got auditing on SQL servers should be enabled on my SQL servers. So this is a very important aspect of Defender for Cloud for me again, because as an organization, depends what industry you're in, but meeting regulatory compliance is very important, especially with sort of NIST and SIS. So I would, if you've not checked this out in your own sort of tenant, I would have a look at regulatory compliance. We then have workload protection. Okay, so this is again protecting our different. So we've got app services, protecting different resources, right? I'm going to have to send all the t-shirts to you because nobody else is typing Nerdy or Rocks. Nobody else wants to win a free t-shirt. I thought people like giveaways. But yeah, if anybody who's joined wants to win a t-shirt, just type in Nerdy or Rocks and I will send you a t-shirt. But if you don't want to win it, then if you don't want to win something free, fair enough. Okay, so here again, we can see the different resources that need protection. It gives us a bit of information about the advanced protection, so VM vulnerability assessment, just-in-time access. I've got none that are unprotected, which is cool. Container image, I've got no containers. Again, we've got data and AI security if we're using those sort of services, which I'm not. Network security, again, so it gives us recommend solutions. We've already spoken about some of these, right? Azure Firewall, DDoS protection, web application firewall. It'll explain to us. It allows you to create them from here, but it also tells you what they're best for, what they're compatible with, and some references as well. One thing I want to go down to, if I just go back to Defender for Cloud, I just want to show a bit of the management as well before we finish. So I'm coming towards the end of my live. So again, I'll have to do another session on that. I'm what I'm. So I'll do another video on Sentinel and XDR. So XDR is obviously Defender for Microsoft 365. Well, what used to be Defender for M365. So XDR is where you've got the Defender for endpoint, Defender for identity, and yeah, Sentinel. Sentinel is straightforward apart from the. When you do the querying, because it uses KQL, so that can be quite challenging, learning KQL as a language. But yeah, Sentinel is a. I think there's loads of Microsoft documents. So if you look at the SC200 exam, so I don't know your name. I'm what I'm. So I'm just saying your YouTube name. But if you look at the SC200 exam, I'll put it in the chat. SC200. exam. That's the Microsoft exam, right? That's very much around security operations, which is what Sentinel, Mohsin, nice to meet you, mate. So that's very much around, it's basically 60% of it's Sentinel and KQL queries. So I would go through, I've actually got a YouTube series on it, which I will send you a link to, I think I have, I'm pretty sure I have. If I go to my playlist, I can show you. Yeah, so pretty sure I've got an exam series on it where you can actually, by all means, you can follow that, and it's all around Sentinel and KQL queries and things like that. Let me share this, put the shareable link as well. So here's a link. That's my YouTube series. It is part of my members only stuff. I do apologize, but it's part of my members only stuff. But that's a link to it. For those joining, if you want to win a free T-shirt, just type in the chat Nerdy Rocks, and I will send you a T-shirt. I've got 2 more to give away. I've given one to Mohsin, who joined earlier. I'm just finishing off my my demo now. So from a management perspective, we've got environment settings. And this is where we can actually turn on the different features of Defender for Cloud. So if we go down here, we've got the tenant group, and we've got my subscription. And this is where all the plans are, right? We've got 13 out of 15 plans. So if we just click on that. So I've got 7 people at the moment. If any of those people want to win a T-shirt, just type into the chat, Nerdy or Rocks. It's a free T-shirt. Why do people not like giveaways? I thought people would want a T-shirt, but obviously not. If you want a T-shirt that I'm wearing, not the specific one I'm wearing, but the exact same, I've got 2 more to give away. Type into the chat in my live, Nerdy or Rocks. Okay, so these are the different plans here. And this is where you can actually turn them on and off. And again, if you've not got a service, if you're not using databases, don't turn this on. If you're not using containers, don't turn this on, right? Why have I got it turned on? I have no idea. Okay, so that's just an example there. So it gives you the cost as well. So this is very expensive, right? So please, when you're turning this stuff on, be aware it costs, right? Make sure you've got budget for it. Make sure you understand how much it's going to cost. In big environments, it could cost thousands, hundreds of thousands, okay? And you can obviously, it's got two plans, you can change the plan. If we go into settings, for example, this straight away, we can turn on and off different features, but this is the agent, and the log analytics agent is depreciated now, so it's replaced. And then you can turn on vulnerability assessments for virtual machines. We've got guest configuration agent, which is in preview, but you can turn that on or off. We've got endpoint protection, which you can turn on or off, and that's basically integrated with Microsoft Defender for endpoint. And it does include automatic agent deployment as well. We've got agentless scanning for machines again. So this is for installed software vulnerabilities and secret scanning, which you can turn off or on. You've got file integrity monitoring as well, which you can turn on or off as well. So again, please remember this does cost per VM. So this is going to be $15 per server per month. I've got 5, so they're enabled. So let's say that's costing me, my maths is awful, but that's like $75, right? Just on that particular one. And again, your app services cost $15 per instance per month. So again, you can go into each different ones with settings and configure them. For anyone joining, I've got 6 people now that join. If you type in the chat, Nerdy or Rocks, you can win a t-shirt. Okay, if you would like to win a t-shirt, this one, 50k giveaway, type in the chat, Nerdy or Rocks, and I will send you. I've got 2 more to give away, and I've got a few more minutes left of the session. So again, with the SQL for servers on a machine plan, you can configure the Azure Monitor agent for SQL servers on machines as well. So again, just go through these different settings, turn on or off depending on what you have. Again, there's ones that have been depreciated like DNS, you can just turn that off. Resource Manager, you've got $4 or /1 million API calls. Again, you can turn that on or off. So just be wary. But again, very important to come in here and look further at what you can configure. And as we just save that and go back. Okay, I'm bothered about that. So again, you can just go in and you can do that on all your different settings. Again, from a resource perspective as well, you can enable or remove plans as well. So that's probably the most important bits of Defender for Cloud that I wanted to show. For whatever reason, people don't seem to want to win a t-shirt. So I know there's only 4 people on. One person's already won a t-shirt. I did say if you were to say, Nerdy or Rocks, you would win a t-shirt. There's still a few seconds left. If you want to win a t-shirt, just type in Nerdy or Rocks and you can win a t-shirt. No? Okay, fine. For people joined, one more person's joined. Last chance, if you want to win a t-shirt, type in Nerdy or Rocks. No, okay, fine. So I'm only giving away 1 t-shirt to Mohassin, who said the magic words. I'll do a Nerdy or Live, not Nerdy or Live, I'll do a YouTube Live maybe next week or the week after, where I will give away some more sort of t-shirts. By all means, drop me a comment. This video will be posted on my YouTube as well. So thank you for joining, for those people that did join and jumped in and out. I would suggest, Mohassin, it's so I've got labs in there as well. So for a practical element, it's going to help you learn Sentinel. I've had good feedback regarding it. I would never recommend using just one source I'd recommend using like Microsoft Learn as well, Mohassin, because that's free and it's very good good information. It's direct from Microsoft. But yeah, a mixture, and I also recommend doing your practical stuff as well. Practice, because I'm a very practical person, so I need to do labs to learn. I'm hands-on learning, so I'd recommend doing that as well. But I think video tutorials with Microsoft Learn and some lab time will prepare you quite well for the SC200 exam. It's a tough exam and it's mainly KQL. The key is KQL, okay? Learn KQL, you have a better chance of passing the exam. Yeah, try and master KQL queries, because a lot of the exam is based on that. And even the content that you look at my videos, a lot of the videos are around KQL. And the exam breakdown on Microsoft as well, okay? Right, final chance for anybody to win a free t-shirt. The t-shirt I'm wearing, look, the IMITE 50k subscriber giveaway with Nerdio on the arm. Type in Nerdio Rocks. I'll give you another 30 seconds to type it in if you want to win a t-shirt. Nobody wants to win a free t-shirt from Mahasim. So, okay, more t-shirts to give away next time, I suppose. Okay, that's the end of my live. Thank you very much for people. Mahasim, thank you for the interaction, much appreciated. Thank you for the people who joined. Drop me a comment. Contact me on LinkedIn or connect with me or drop a comment in the videos as well. So thank you for joining. Don't forget to subscribe for next time and hit notification as well, so you're notified of my next live. And again, I have got other Microsoft exam content for anybody who's wanting to learn and pass certain exams, SC 900, MS 900, AZ 900, things like that, AZ 104, 140 and AZ 700 as well. Okay, thank you for watching. Till next time, goodbye.